Fly through fairies, it's Snowflake here. Now, because I'm obsessed with Pixie Hollow history and stuff, I'm gonna make this video about things that Pixie Hollow has removed and or changed over the years. Now, I'm gonna start off this list with things that may be a bit obvious and stuff you probably knew if you played, like, even not as early on. But stay tuned till later in this video because I'll mention things which even I didn't remember at first and I played back in 2008. And I won't be including anything from Fairy ABC on this list because we all know it doesn't have the mini games yet. So I'm not including Fairy ABC on this list because it's unfinished and all that stuff. See where I'm going with this? So let's begin this list. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm going to start off this list with things which you may remember. And this change happened in 2012, and I think a lot of you played in 2012 or earlier. But during 2012, some of the shops were removed or completely overhauled. For one thing, Harmony's Sweet Shop used to be a decoration shop called Harmony's Home Collection. And there were 4 dye shops rather than 1. There was 1 dye shop in each season and each sold different colors. There was also an accessory shop for Spearman called Gavin's Gear, which was removed in 2012. And the garden supply shop used to be a clothing store called Brooks Basics, which sold talent-themed outfits which even non-members could buy. And in the very early days, like 2008, it was a typical outfit shop. Similar to like Gail's Outfitters, it kind of reminded me. It sold like event outfits and stuff, but they didn't update as much as Summit Style did. And the next kind of obvious thing on this list is that back in 2008 and 2009 and 2007, if you want to count that, the fairy creation was a lot different. It would have this lovely floral background and Tinkerbell would guide you in creating your fairy. She'll even occasionally give out fairy facts. The cool thing is that back then, there's a pose option in the fairy creation. And what we all missed about the old fairy creation was the option to choose your fairy's outfit. And in 2008, there are so many more clothing options and there's so many color options. They're limited in December that year to match the talent. And one thing which I'd like to mention, which I didn't notice at first, is that the garden talent icon in 2008 was green rather than the pink icon we have now. I think because Tinker talent was already green. So yeah, I just find it really fascinating. We're heading to stuff which some of you may not remember in number 8. So in the later days of Pixie Hollow, you'd unlock crafts simply by leveling up. But before talent levels were added in 2011, the way you unlock crafts was a lot different. You'd unlock crafts simply by creating a bunch. And if you wanted to personal craft an item, you'd have to keep practice crafting it until you fill up this XP bar thingy, and then it will be added to your personal crafting list. I personally preferred the newer system with the levels because I was just lazy and I didn't like to keep having to practice something in order to personal craft it. I'd rather just level up. But some actually prefers the old crafting system, but do you all remember the old crafting system? I'm curious about it. Also, along with talent levels, the talent skill system changed as well. Back then, in order to earn your first talent skill and explore the wilderness, instead of leveling up, you need to complete your first story quest from your mentor fairy. Then you'll unlock a new quest as shown here, which will teach you your talent skill, and once completed you will earn your first skill. And in order to unlock some of the talent skill practice quests and even new talent skills, you need to complete a certain number of wilderness challenges. Oh, and by the way, I'd like to tell you about what the wilderness challenges were like. They were different and a bit less varied back then. Like, this is the light talent one. It was basically the same challenge for the skill. Basically the same challenge throughout the skill. Yeah, so those are what the wilderness challenges were like. We're going to head back to 2008 and 2009 for number 6 because the Pixie postings used to look different back then. It had 5 articles each issue instead of 4, and they were a bit more various, like many issues had like different articles rather than the same ones every issue. And some of those articles included Featured Badge, Home Sweet Home, Fairy Jokes, and From the Mainland. Another section was a seasonal scoop where fairies could give shout-outs. There would also be occasional leaf lettering messages in the Pixie postings. And while reading the old postings, you get to find out that Lyria wrote the fairy tales section, Terrence wrote the poem section, and Gwyn, the decorating talent, wrote the Home Sweet Home section. And another fun fact about the old postings was that you could access Kit's Place from it. You just click on the paw print bell there to visit Kit. Again in 2008 and 2009, Pixie Hollow's map was a page in your leaf journal rather than the compass map we have today. This map would have a fly home button and a change server button, even though the fly home button on the menu was easier to access. While the old map was actually a map and it was very beautiful, I personally found the newer one to be more convenient because I didn't have to flip through the pages of the leaf journal to access the map, which I did a lot of in 2009. I've already talked about the retired shops, but less of you probably remember what the shops used to be like. For one thing, some of the shopkeepers like Bella got outfits changed. This is a picture of Bella's old outfit, and Phoebe used to wear a belly top actually, so her top used to show her tummy and all that. And the cool thing is that you used to be able to chat with the shopkeepers, similar to how you could chat with famous fairies and quests. Even though that remove feature was kind of pointless, it was really cool and I don't know why it was removed. And in 2008, you can't fly around and chat in the shop lobby similar to how you can now. You'd be greeted by the shopkeeper who would be larger than you, and then you'd be taken to like the selection of things to buy. Now we're going to talk about the old loading screen. Yeah, even the loading screen used to be different. It was only for 2008 though. Instead of the boring stars blinking loading screen we have now kind of, it actually showed your fairy flying around in this beautiful scenery with a beautiful sound effect playing. I have no idea why it was removed, but at least the removal doesn't affect gameplay. Now we're getting into the stuff which even I didn't remember at first. In 2008 and 2009, you used to be able to rearrange the ingredients in your pouch like you could rearrange your wardrobe. And again, I have no idea why it was removed. And if that sounds interesting, then wait until you hear about what the pouch was like in 2008. You could donate ingredients. Yep, that was a thing. The reason why you'd want to donate ingredients is because you'd earn badges from doing so. And a cool thing is that the pouch font was also different in the earlier days. And about the pouch in the beta, well, I know it was like a testing period, but I find it interesting that it can only hold 10 different types of ingredients, and if you choose to donate something, you'd have to donate all of that ingredient you had. So you can't choose a specific number of ingredients you want to donate. You have to either keep all of it or donate all of it. And speaking of donating ingredients, I'm going to add a little bonus before getting into number 1. After 2010, Pixie Hollow had seasonal bunch badges. But in 2008, there are seasonal donation badges instead. In 2009, there were seasonal tailoring badges instead of the permanent tailoring badges, which you could work on whenever. And in 2009, there were also favors badges for doing a certain number of quests in a certain season. Probably one of the most interesting removed features of Pixie Hollow was the ability to rate fairies. Yep, that was a thing in the pre-beta and beta. You could actually rate other fairies in their Pixie page or profile depending on what time period, and there are even badges that could be earned by giving or receiving ratings, so basically they were popularity badges. That feature was obviously removed when the beta ended, and in November 2008, the rating badges were removed from fairies who had previously earned them, and that removal was a good idea in my opinion. The rating sort of makes sense in the pre-beta because all it was were Pixie pages and stuff. It makes sense to rate someone's creation and rate someone's page or creation or something, but if you put it in a virtual world where you can actually talk with one another, it seems more like rating a person, and of course that could be easily abused. So yeah, I find the stuff that was in the beta and even 2009 to be very intriguing. I hope you enjoyed this list, and if you remember any of those features, please leave a comment. If you learned something new from watching this video, I'd like to hear from that as well, because this stuff is really interesting, I know. So, thank you so much for watching. I never really know what to say here, so fly with you later.